Off it like him, and hello, it's Fo, and welcome back to Turbine City. Last time we'd got a bunch of zoning in this lower part of our most recent tile that we've purchased. Let that all come in. We'll work on getting some more roads in so we can fit in this last couple of thousand people to get us past the 700,000 mark. Bring this node down and sort of split the difference back towards the canal. I'm trying to mess about with a small road that's not going to have much zoning on it. Make a more interesting shape here. Still try to keep the road straight, just at a slightly more interesting angle. I'll make this small area look a little bit more interesting. Been sort of half inspired by watching other people's videos. I think I'm the only one that's so OCD about keeping everything so square and grid-like. So I'm trying to not let it bother me. Try and make some interesting shapes. I think if it's straight but not quite square, I think I'm okay with it. I can let it go. So we'll get our water pipes in, cover this extra little bit. It's a bit fiddly trying to go underneath the canals. So we'll get there. Just need to find the sweet spots where it'll let you do it. I'm sure it's going to be the same when we come to putting in the metro network. Trying to get the tubes underneath the canals is probably going to be a similar sort of affair. Just trying to find the sweet spot for the nodes. And we'll have one along here, one of our ferry stops. And then maybe on the other side of the highway. We'll have the next one on the other side. Don't want to put the stops too close together. This side we can just have some zoning, have some shops or something. It's tidied up. Get some offices in. Our offices have filled up quite nicely without any complaints. I've certainly been using quite a lot of them along these canal side areas. I want to switch back to using more shops at some point to keep the overall balance right. So if everybody's got an office job and there's nobody working in the shops, that'll be no use. Yeah, they're getting their stock taken care of, but there's no one there to serve the customers. It's not much use. I'm sure if people have to travel too far to go to the shops, they'll start complaining. So we'll try to have a little bit of everything in the areas that we're creating, especially when using Demand Master. Sort of left to your own devices in terms of balancing out all the different types of zoning. For all the offices that we're using, we do want to use some commercial as well. As I say, try and keep it balanced. We're just mainly adding people at this stage, just to see how far we can take the population up. We want to create good balanced workplaces for them. Shopping opportunities. So we're almost up to the 700,000. I'll let it run for a little bit, and then we can drop down a save. Almost there. And there we go, we've made it. So we can get it paused, drop down a save for 700,000. The terrain down here so we can fit in more sewage outlets. Big space along here. I like the way this terrain comes quite naturally for this bit of beach, so we'll try and maintain some beach along here. It's a shame the park life assets don't have a beach specific kind of park. Could always set them up one manually. Make like a nature reserve, get some beach style props, sort of make it up ourselves. I've seen people do really good beach style builds with, it's like a certain thing you can get off the workshop, so it's like, it generates people. It's just people sitting there enjoying the beach, who aren't necessarily citizens, that don't have jobs to go to. There's sort of animated prop people who live on the beach all the time, having a good time. And that makes the beaches that people make look quite alive. There's actively people there sunbathing and things. So that looks pretty good. I might come back to that at some point. So yeah, I'll save the last little bit for an actual beach area. And in this area we can have a whole bunch of our eco-friendly outlets. We'll leave a little gap between each one. See how many we can fit in along here. And we'll move them all slightly closer to each other. And then we've got room for an extra one. Hopefully this is gonna take care of quite a bit of our sewage needs. Don't know how they stack up against the against the no pollute outflow pipes we've got on the riverside in terms of their capacity. Hopefully we can go and take away as many of the no pollutes in the river. We can add a couple of water sources to balance that back out. Take away 7, 8 of them, add back in a couple of water pumps in their places, since the nodes are already there. Now our water availability is, I don't know, more than we need. Maybe delete a couple of water pumps, make sure the water is getting further down the river. Keep it vaguely balanced. Add a couple more water sources in, just to 0.03, just to make sure everything is still nice and full. Dragging down the height to make sure that the maximum height isn't going to spill out over the sides of the river and into the houses. Got a complaint over here. Karaoke all night long, sounds like my kind of business. But they're not happy, they're complaining, so we're going to replace them. Let's put a car park right on them, boom, get rid of them. Over here we just swap this out for a little bit of office, extend our offices out there. Yeah, any complaints that aren't part of the industry's DLC stuff, people are just getting booted out and replaced with a car park or an office or whatever. The industry's DLC stuff, I think that's allowed to complain. I think the way I set it up, I'm just getting loads of everything in without really thinking about the layout to help the traffic get around properly. And then the actual balance of the assets themselves. I'm sure there's a more scientific way to lay out the industry's DLC stuff. When I'm making the massive city, I'm just throwing lots of everything in. So I do need to go back and reduce some of the the assets going on in those areas. Try and rebalance them a little bit. Maybe add in more storage buildings and things to make the chain work a little bit better, and reduce the number of icons. If not, get rid of them altogether would be ideal. Yeah, that's a bit of a job, so kind of putting that off until the end, until I've run out of other good ideas. We're going to get our small canal side roads in, and tucked in nice and close on this side. Make sure we've got enough room for clearance for the pillars, so we don't have a problem like we did previously in the other tile. Keep everything right close to the canal side. So far so good. Yeah, we'll keep up with the ferry stops. As I say, we don't want to put in too many, not one on every corner, you know. We want them sort of maybe slightly more frequently than down the river, but not by much. Depends how big we make the square, how many we'll need, I guess. Can extend out this road a little bit, so we can fit an extra small road in the gap in the middle. Try and get it closer to where the end of our canal is. Give ourselves the room. Just move it to tidy everything up. Gives ourselves a little bit more room. I think we probably want a beachside road like we've got over the other side of the river. Extend the roads down here. Try and come along the sort of edge of where we've got the sand. And if we do want to make a custom park, this can be sort of the edge where we have the fence along this road. Try and add in a bit more terrain. It's a bit steep. It's not really a fun beach area. Try and give it a bit more level ground, so it's not just a crazy tumble down a sand dune into the ocean. Always come back and work on that if we do want to make more of a feature out of it. This gives us an opportunity to get in a little bit more space for some housing. So obviously the train track there, we can get some offices in to block out the noise coming off that. Extend it all out over here as well. More space that we can use. Don't want to rush on to getting another tile before we've properly used up all this one. At the same time, we don't need to totally fill up every area. Can have some more trees and rocks and things around the train tracks. More sort of geological features, more reasons why there's big gaps where you wouldn't build a road or plan to have houses and things. So I'm going to get an extra stop in over here, try and get it lined up so we can get our nodes connected up. And just move things into place when it doesn't line up how we want it to. Giving ourselves plenty of space. Gonna get in the Piggly Wiggly. Saw this amazing asset. Badfish on the Gordon Gabin channel had this amazing thing, the Piggly Wiggly. It's a real business in America. How happy would you be if you worked for Piggly Wiggly? Every day would be a joy. Get your paycheck, says Piggly Wiggly on it, you know, it's less than you expected, but you're still happy. You're like, oh yeah, Piggly Wiggly. Something super entertaining about that. Yeah, love me the Piggly Wiggly. Of all the American chains that I want to make it across here, that is number one on my list. I think they're a grocery shop, just like a normal shop. It's not specifically all sort of bacon and things. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, the Piggly Wiggly massive. It's gonna be all the YouTubers that put the Piggly Wiggly in their cities. We'll form a gang. A couple more of the interesting parks in, like the tropical garden and things. A couple of nice things along that canal side. It's gonna be the sort of posh quarter on the inside of the canal. That's where all the good stuff is. High class shops, high class parks, nothing but the best. Yeah, we'll try and mix up the zoning in here. Try to give ourselves enough room with the noise and things. Have a mixture of commercial and offices. As I was saying, I think we're using quite a lot of offices, so I do want to get some more commercial in, sort of balance it back out. Just enough that the people who live round about aren't going to be having to travel so far to go to the shops to get their groceries. Yeah, I like having a mixture of different things. High density residential doesn't mind the commercial right next to it. In my experience, they never seem to complain about noise. Ground pollution, yeah, but I think they make enough noise in themselves between the different apartments and things. They don't really hear the shops. I do. If I've got my window open, I can hear the scanners in the shop across the road beeping. It doesn't bother me. Usually making enough noise myself. Yeah, these built up urban areas, you know, people don't tend to complain about the noise. The guys in the shops across the road doing some sort of refit, and they were cutting concrete at like 1 in the morning. But yeah, it's not the kind of place where people moan about things. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a bit late for them doing that, but they obviously waited for the shop to shut at 10 at night and then started doing work. But yeah, no one died, no one got ill from the noise pollution, so it's just a Skylines thing. Offices along the road where it's closest to the highway and things, just again to try and block some of that noise. We've got trees there, but I like to have that extra layer of protection. Same with the ferry stop. Check how much noise comes off of that. Yeah, a reasonable amount. We'll want another layer of something else before the housing. Get a little strip of shops in, a low density housing. That should stop any potential noise problems, making people sick. We'll let them come in. Then we can use that space in the lower half between the zoning running down to the train track. We've got these guys all pretty much built in. They run out of housing anyway. So we're going to get this area filled up. Space for another few thousand people. Yeah, we can check the noise that's coming off the train track. See how close we can come with our housing. I think generally a a layer of offices is going to be a sensible idea. Well, it suggests that only the train is noisy when it's passing, but the track itself isn't. It's not much help. Doesn't look like it's that noisy, but having lived next to a train track previously, I can tell you, they do make noise when they go past. So yeah, maybe a sensible little buffer zone of offices. I think that's generally the way forward. It's mainly residential, leading up to the offices. Maybe a couple of shops in, just so they don't have to go too far. Yeah, we're pretty much getting there with this tile. Next on the list is the one above this one, so we can finish off that canal. Set up the ferry route for it. That'll help these people get about. Probably have to look at the metro network as well to see how easy it is to expand everything out, get metro coverage over here. Haven't turned off the traffic lights in ages, so that's something that needs done as well. I noticed there was touches of flooding over here. Try and raise the train a little bit, try and stop that. I think maybe where we added our water sources in the river, maybe one too many. It's good that we're finding that balance, because we do want it to be nice and full. Add in rocks at the side, especially down at the bottom where it's not going to interfere with any of our ferry terminals or anything. Free to sort of decorate this bit, make it look nice. These smaller rocks don't have much of an impact, especially if you've got them on the side rather than in the water. Some of the bigger ones, yeah, they can cause a bit of displacement. Ones this size are generally okay. Ones are maybe a touch too big. Try and smooth the land out because they look kind of out of place. So that looks after a little minute. Get a couple in here as well. Natural reasons why the land sort of cuts in. Looks like we're getting a bit of flooding. Those big rocks are maybe a touch too much. Sort out the land, get back to how it was with a bit more of a ledge, keep that water out, and then maybe add another water pump just to help soak out any of that excess water. Let that run for a bit, see how that gets on. Yeah, it's certainly looking full. Delete just one. Let's see if that sorts everything out. Gets into some sort of balance. We've got this one house, this one square of zoning that keeps rebuilding as a house behind the other houses and complains that it doesn't have access to all the services. So obviously it's not on the road. Hopefully nip that in the bud. Looks like our offices are starting not to come in. Our other zone is coming through fine, but not the offices. So we'll change a few over to commercial. See if that wants to come in more. We've maybe got our demand master set too low for the offices. Yeah, this tile's pretty much done now. Sort out the land here a little bit before we go. Come back in the next one and finish off with a bit of detailing. Until then, take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.